Okay, it's my honor to introduce today our speaker who is going to talk with us about the Arkansas Tutoring Corps. Her name is Jill Clogston, and you all know Jill Clogston, and I know that I, for one, aspire to be more like Jill. She is the most detailed, efficient, person that I have ever known. If you have her do a task, you know that it is going to be done perfectly. She is just amazing. And in addition to that, she is so fun, just a fun person and very outgoing and great to be around. So this project that she is going to do is just perfect for her skills. So I want to tell you a little bit about her background and the skills that she does have that will contribute to this. So first of all, she graduated from Arkansas State in radio and TV in 1983. So she didn't start out in education. She started out in broadcast news. Then it wasn't long after that, though, that she did transition to the schools, to the public schools, and she first taught at Evening Shade, and she did social studies and career orientation. And then she got her master's degree in gifted and talented education. And from there, she started working in the Evening Shade School District in GT in gifted and talented. She then went to the Walnut Ridge School District, where she was an administrator and in the gifted and talented education program. And then from there, she worked in the Northeast Arkansas Educational Co-op as supervisor of the gifted and talented educational programs. However, we've been very fortunate that from 2015 to the present, she has been with us here at Arkansas State, and she is director of the Office of Education Renewal Zone and Advanced Placement Summer Institute. She's sort of the liaison between Shane Broadway and the system office and Arkansas Department of Ed, DESE, and the College of Education. So she kind of connects us all. She's in her 36th year in education. She served as president of the Arkansas GT Association. She's married to George, whom she's been married to for 34 years, and she's a mom to Kyle, who is 25 years old. So please welcome with me, Jill Clogston.
I appreciate the opportunity to get to speak to y'all today, kind of as the program coordinator for Rotary. I took advantage of that and wanted to talk about what myself and 5 other colleagues of mine around the state are doing. I do have the pleasure of working at Arkansas State University as the director of the Education Renewal Zone, and I also do the Advanced Placement Summer Institute. With this project, the Arkansas Tutoring Corps, how it kind of fell in the laps of my office and then the other 5 offices around the state, ERZ offices, were all tied to a college of education. Just a quick little background, the ERZs got started in 2004, kind of in the height of No Child Left Behind, that little nightmare we all lived through. And then so I remember I was at the co-op, the Northeast Arkansas co-op, being their GT supervisor when I heard about these ERZs, and I couldn't figure out what their place was. Why do we need the education renewal zones? But anyway, our legislators put them together, and they're kind of the bridge between P20 education. And so through the years, they have evolved, and now there are 5 of us. There's one in Fayetteville and Fort Smith, down in Magnolia, down in Monticello. Then I kind of cover this area, Northeast Arkansas, and all the way down to Helena. I partner with co-ops, but I also get to partner, obviously, with, well, it's my boss at the State Department, so I guess I'm definitely partnered with her. I better. And so I'm actually hired by the College of Education, by the Dean of the College of Education. And so now the ERZs, kind of our position in the State Department of Education is we are we're kind of like a branch of the ADE, the Arkansas Department of Education, Special Projects and Office of ERZ. Well, my boss at the State Department is right under Dr. Ivy Pfeffer. Dr. Ivy Pfeffer is the Associate Commissioner who sits right under Secretary of Education, Johnny Key. So when Johnny and Ivy get together and start talking about looking into the future and what needs to be done, they call my boss, and then my boss calls us and says, okay, guess what is our next project? So this summer, this spring, our legislators met and passed a bill, and that bill became Act 912, and it was to address learning loss by providing readily accessible tutors to Arkansas K-8 students, and particularly in math and reading. And the Tutoring Corps connects schools. This is probably my favorite thing about this little bullet: connecting schools and communities to support student success. So yes, we are training and getting sites that are school sites, and you're going to be hearing from one of the tutors in our Corps who is at Westside in our town. But also, it takes a village, and we need all community members around the state, because if we're going to have readily accessible tutors, we need them everywhere, not just in the schoolhouse, okay? And so churches, boys and girls clubs, the YMCA, any of these entities can be a site, to be a tutoring site for the Arkansas Tutoring Corps. These are just some of the goals, obviously, just to build a system of recruiting and training tutors. And then we want to keep expanding. This is a 3-year, at least a 3-year multi-million-dollar project that was authorized and through legislation passed this spring. So my office and the other offices around the state, like I said, there's mine and 5 others. So basically, there's about 8 people around the state working on this project, like me and about 7 others. And so anyway, we're tasked specifically with recruiting, training, supporting, and retaining. And so we have been, probably the easiest part right now is recruiting, because we have a lot of great teachers out there that want to be a part of this. And I also, when I train, and I go in there and I work with the teachers and kind of, I call it onboarding almost when I'm there at their school or their site. The State Department folks didn't wake up just one day and say, hey, I think we'll have tutoring programs. Wouldn't that be a great idea? Tutoring has been around forever and a day. We all know that. But, you know, the pandemic brought it really to the forefront, and the need, and it was apparent by our legislators that we had to have some sort of system that would address the learning loss that we know has occurred. And some of you out there are parents, or your grandparents, or you know of young children that were home, couldn't go to school. It's tough being at home and doing the online classes. And we know that we have discrepancies around our state in the rural areas that don't have quality internet access. So the whole thing really led to some obvious learning loss that we have to address. And so what we're trying to do now is I go in there and we train them and kind of onboard them and tell them the expectations, the commitment that they're making. But also we tell them that we know that someone like Ashley, he'll be up here in a minute to speak, has a full life, has a full-time job, has a lot of activities, a lot of things that she is involved in. And so we're not saying you have to do this month and this next month and this. It's not lockstep. It's kind of a lean in, lean out process with our tutors, because we told our tutors when we designed this, and we spent all summer, myself and the other ERZ directors, we would meet every other day, it seemed like, on Zoom. And then sometimes we were in Little Rock at the State Department meeting in person, throw up an idea to kind of a system that we organized to Dr. Pfeffer and Secretary Key. And they said, oh, let's kind of tweak that a little bit. Let's, so it back to the drawing board and all that kind of stuff. And so finally we came up with a system we thought would work best for everybody. And so we wanted to show that our tutors that we are bringing on board, we value them. We know they're busy people. We know they're full-time educators, or even if you're not a full-time educator, let's say you're a retired person and you want to be a tutor, that's great. But you're still a busy person. So you get done what you can get done in a certain, whatever your time frame is. So we call these levels. And so there's different things you have to do per level. And then, and we have 7 levels in our system. And so the supporting part comes that we want to show, like, for instance, in December, I think we're probably quickly approaching almost 500 active tutors around the state. Now, active means they are now into the curriculum. They're into their training modules and they're beginning to tutor. We have a lot of applicants, but then sometimes the applicants, they have good meaning, they have good intentions, and then all of a sudden life happens and they can't move forward. That's understandable. They can start when they can. Okay. So we want to have, let's say we have 500 active tutors in December. Well, in May, we want to show to the State Board of Education that we have 500 plus active tutors. We want to retain those tutors as long as we can. I hope to retain Ashley for at least 3 years that we have this program going. But I personally think that we'll have this program going long after that. I think it's probably will become institutionalized. And I told Ivy Pfeffer this. I said, I hope, and she agreed with me, hope it's institutionalized in our State Board of Education and in our Arkansas Department of Education. So it continues because it offers a great system of support to tutoring programs. So for instance, Westside, they didn't just decide, oh yeah, Jill came by to see us, so we're going to start a tutoring program. They already had a tutoring program going, a good one. This just adds support, an extra layer of support to that. Okay. And so anyway, and then we do monthly support meetings by video or Zoom link, usually last 45 minutes or so. I'm in charge of that aspect also, where we just touch base. And no matter what level of the program that you're in, you're giving us feedback, because my boss at the State Department, her name is Dr. Missy Wally, excellent administrator, a very tried and true education professional. She has to go before the State Board of Education every month to give them a very detailed report about our progress, because when you're talking about a lot of money being expended on a project like this, they obviously want to know how we're doing. They want to know, yes, we have this many applicants, that's great, but then how many are moving forward? How are you helping them move forward and being active tutors? And so I've told, when I was at Westside, I said, I want to be responsive to you. So if Ashley or her assistant superintendent, Pam Dooley, calls me or emails me, I will get back with them, within 4 or 5 hours, probably sooner than that. But anyway, so we want to keep them. And let's see here. So the expectations they have to clear a background check. So even if you're not a licensed teacher, so with Ashley, I mean, when she just filled out her application on a Google form, it went to one of our partners. She got an email back from the lady saying, welcome to the Corps. You need to go to a training. Here are a list of trainings you can go to. Obviously, she went to the one that we set up at Westside. And she was in good standing as a licensed teacher with the Arkansas Department of Education. And her background check just flew by, and she was in the green, as we say, on our database. And then that alerted one of our colleagues to send her a email about the curriculum that they'll be using. And Ashley's going to tell you a little bit about that and how it's going with the training modules and the curriculum that they're starting to use with her the students. The tutor will then secure an approved site, which an approved site is any public school in Arkansas, any public university. Private schools are also involved. We have students everywhere in this state, okay, and daycares, things like that. So then they have to complete the required tutoring hours and continued level training, the module training. So and then they do receive stipends from the Arkansas Department of Education. Actually, their stipend comes from Henderson State University in Arkadelphia, which just a little footnote, they are now part of the ASU system, and we're excited about that. But they are our fiscal agent. They're the ones that receive all the money from the State Department. They pay all the bills. So there are stipends that the tutors receive for their time they spend in doing the modules, because these modules are done on their own time, okay? Not when school is going on or when they're already working like that. So they, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock, whenever they find time to do the modules and learn about the curriculum and other aspects. A big aspect of it is social emotional learning. And so that is one of the modules and things that they will go through. So this talks a little bit about the tutoring sites. And so I'm now going to let Ashley come up. This is a picture of us. This was sometime early in November. And a great group of teachers that and you can see Ashley in there. And so we have a lot of fun at the orientation trainings. And so Ashley, at this time, I'm going to step away and let you come up here and talk about your perspective and progress and plans.
Hi, I'm Ashley, obviously. She talked about levels. I am currently starting level 3. I have completed 3 weeks of tutoring using the curriculum she was talking about. I am a certified licensed teacher. I have a master's degree in education. I'm currently working on a national board certification. The curriculum that the State Department has trained us in is BLAST. It's a really great reading. It's the company. And it really goes along with our RISE. We're RISE trained. I'm a teacher. I'm RISE trained, which is the Arkansas Reading Initiative. So the really great reading program that they have selected for us to use is called BLAST. And within that program, it goes back and it just reinforces those core foundational reading skills and decoding and encoding words. There's all sorts of components of it that we have used in the last 3 weeks. In the last 3 weeks, I've had a group of second graders, 6 of them, I believe, 6 to 8 second graders. Within that time, we've used heart words because this is the group that was shut down 2 years ago. They lost 9 weeks of kindergarten when I had them in kindergarten. So they have that learning loss and they have that gap. Within that gap, of course, they don't know all of their heart words, as the program calls it, and memory words that they should know in order to just automatically read without having to stop and sound every word out. So using the program, we have seen tremendous growth. I have a child that was in my group that knew 9 heart words. We're going into 2nd grade. They should know over 100 and something heart words. They took that 9 heart words and they are now at 76 out of 91 words. So the curriculum and the training that they have provided us is not only helpful for the tutoring, but it's skills that I'm going to take and I'm going to use within my own classroom of kindergartners. And the math, Westside was fortunate enough to already use the math curriculum that the State Department had selected, which is Zern Math. The Zern Math takes each individual skill and it breaks it down by modules and lessons. Within those modules and lessons, the students are asked to complete different tasks. They have a fluency activity and a word problem activity, and then they have independent practice. We check, usually I do our fluency and our word problem together in a small group form, and then I let them go and I let them work on their independent practice. And the Zern program, independent practice, will alert us and let us know, hey, is this child struggling? And that allows us to come back and pull them in and work with them one-on-one so that we can prevent the learning loss. So Miss Jill has come, she came to Westside and she trained us, of course. And within that module, I've also taken on Arkansas Ideas. There have been many classes that we've had to take kind of as a fresh reminder. And I went through the program at Arkansas State University. Dr. Gilbert was actually my supervisor during my internship. So it had been a while since I had those classes on dyslexia and several other issues that our students are facing today. I think this program is amazing. I could not be more grateful for the State Department for doing this. As a licensed teacher, it's important to us to bridge that gap. The pandemic has caused a tremendous learning loss. I can't even begin to tell you the social emotional gaps that these children have and have been traumatized because they have not had the experiences that they should have had in a public school. There have been no field trips. There have been no parties or parents have been allowed in. And amongst all of this, the tutoring has just allowed these children to give that extra boost of confidence. And if they have that extra boost of confidence, they're more likely to succeed and work with their classroom teacher if they have that knowledge and they feel comfortable sharing with their classroom teacher. So I just could not be more grateful again that Ms. Jill came and trained us, and for the State Department that's allowed us to work with these children and to bridge the gap from the pandemic. It's really an honor to be asked to speak today and to be a teacher in the Tutoring Corps. And it's a great program and I really hope it stays. Thank you.
I will say also, I think I forgot to add that this is a free tutoring program. So when a school like Westside or Boys and Girls Club or whatever other entity wants to be a site, we provide the curriculum. We are providing the stipends to the teachers. And so it does not cost a parent or grandparent anything to send their child, whether it's to stay after school, or it could be that some schools, especially in rural areas, they may want to have it structured where it's done on Zoom. That's not ideal. It's better the way Ashley's doing it and small groups. However, we do what we can do. And so there's a lot of flexibility with how a school can design their tutoring program. The State Department, nor my office, nor my colleague's office tells the sites how to conduct their tutoring program. We offer curriculum. I'm glad to hear they were already using our Zern Math. The math and reading programs that were selected to be used with these K-8 students were vetted. They were literacy specialists, math specialists in the State Department were consulted, and it was determined that these were the best options. So that was all paid for. Matter of fact, I told Ashley I've got about at least what seems like 500 boxes of books in my office suite at A State, and we are so ready to get rid of them. And so, but they're books for students, they're books for the teachers. And so then that's probably next on our list of things to do is get those curriculum materials out to the teachers if they so choose. If a school or a site already has a curriculum that they like, I say, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So they don't have to use for their tutoring program what we have, but they are willing to. They can even supplement what they're already using. So we're excited about that. And so this is our DESE, Department of Education and Secondary Education, the ADE. That's our website you can go to, get all kinds of information about the Arkansas Tutoring Corps. And then this is where you can reach me. And we do have, I think, just a few minutes. We can, Ashley and I can entertain any questions if there are any questions. Nancy.
Hold on, Nancy.
Oh, sorry.
Excuse me. Marie's sake, if you all would please identify yourself.
Nancy Elphinstone. You mentioned K through 8. I didn't notice in the legislation, it might have said, but is this just for K through?
Yeah, we designed this program to meet the letter of the law, and right now it's K-8. It might change, it might go up to K-12, but right now it's K-8.
Jill, who identifies the students to go into this program?
Ashley can entertain that question, but generally speaking, they have data. I mean, y'all, our schools, the way they operate these days are remarkable, and it's all data-based decision-making. And so do you want to come up here to the mic and talk a little bit about how y'all identified students to target the right student?
And when we go into this, we look at state testing scores, we look at DIBEL scores, we look at all sorts of a classroom testing. I cannot begin to tell you how much data we have on these children that are in our schools. The state testing system that we use is called iReady. And that iReady test will show us where these children are. And it shows us a breakdown of skills, their vocabulary, their reading comprehension, their foundational skills, their whatever they are missing. It shows us what they are lacking and what they need that support in. Our math, we have iReady math as well. And that iReady math shows us, are they counting correctly? Are they able to do a word problem? Are they able to identify numbers? Kindergarten, a big part of ours is numbers. Can they count to 100? Can they add within 20? And of course, those skills build as they go up. We use the DIBELs. The DIBELs is letter naming fluency. How many letters can they name in a minute? If they can't name a certain number of letters within a minute, then that tells us that they're probably not fluent within their letter knowledge. So we go and we pull all of this data from different aspects and classroom testing as well. And it allows us to say, okay, these children are struggling, they need that extra push. And that's how we usually do it.
Ashley, is this after classes, normal classes in the evening or late afternoon?
Yes, sir. Westside uses or does something called Scholar Academy. So Scholar Academy, I walk down, my contract is over at 3:30. So at 3:30, I walk down and I get my group of kiddos from our gym. They hold them in our gym. So I walk down and I get my kiddos and they come back to my classroom and we give them a snack and we work with them on these skills. I know what they're talking about that week with their classroom teacher. We have communication. And like I said, this last 3 weeks, we have tutored. I have really worked hard on the heart words, the memory words, because they need to be fluent within those words. It needs to be automaticity. They need to be able to recognize those words without having to stop and decode the word the or was or your basic words.
Brock Wooldridge. So this is required by the state, right, for everybody?
No, it's not required. It is a service that is being provided if a school chooses to participate with us. This is a voluntary program.
Okay, well, I have a second grader who's way behind on reading. So say my kid's school does offer this program. I know y'all said y'all identify them, But what if the parent says, hey, my kid probably needs to be in here. Can you double
Yes,
check?
yes, call the building principal, call the
Okay, that's all you gotta
central
do.
office. Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
They can get in touch with me.
Claudia Shannon, what do you do about students that have dyslexia or other learning disabilities?
We are trained. I have sat through a 3-hour training on dyslexia. I'm also IMSC trained. The IMSC training has prepared us for the multisensory learning. If a child is struggling with a disability, we are trained to know how to help them. We also use, I'm not trained in it, but our school uses the Phonetic Connections program. And those children receive explicit intervention, and we know how to help them so that they are not behind and no one is left out of the tutoring program.
Norman Stafford, how many schools in Jonesboro are involved? Are all of the schools involved?
Right now, I know I train teachers at Jonesboro School District. I was in their Jonesboro Administration Building a couple of months ago. We actually started doing our trainings, orientation trainings, about mid-September. West Side, I've been to Blyville. All three of the co-ops, like that I partner with, Crowley's Ridge at Harrisburg, and Northeast Arkansas at Walnut Ridge, and the Great Rivers Co-op down in Helena. So they have had teachers there, but I would have to go on our database to see how many are sites that are actually, because I know Jonesboro, I think they were going to go and maybe partner with the church, or some of those tutors, I think, told me they were going to end up probably partnering with the church and being a tutor at the church site. But
So all of the Jonesboro schools are involved in some way?
Mostly, yes. Or if they're not, then they can be. It's a young program. We're about 3 months into it all.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I appreciate
thank
it.
you, Jill.
And there is my email address, the phone number of my office. And so anything that you have questions about, I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you, Jill. Ashley?